This is the Wally Show mini-cast, since we don't have a precast to a podcast because our podcast isn't happening because we are doing the event with Compassion, our Hope Happens event. So I think it was Erin the other day that coined that phrase. She's a faithful potty that she likes the mini-cast that we're still doing.
I like that term. It kind of makes sense because you were trying to figure out, okay, is it the precast and the postcast? And then, no, it's just one cast.
Yeah, just a cast. It's a mini-cast here. And we are going to get to some of the things that we need to talk about, like the shack. And Betty Rock has a list of these prepared. She's asked that she could go first. I'm still debating. We'll see.
I want to go first.
We'll see. We'll see where that goes. Right now, we want to cover some of our birthdays. Could you give a shout out to my son, Joshua Leclerc, who's turning 7? Happy birthday, Joshua. You totally rule. Your mom and dad love you. And so the question is, what do you guys think about ice hockey? What do you think about ice hockey? He's from, yeah.
Okay, I'll answer this. So I had never followed hockey, never been to a hockey game until a couple of months ago. Someone gave us tickets to the Preds game here in Nashville. It was so fun.
It's awesome.
So fun. I'm like, I want to go to more games. And then I looked up ticket prices and I'm like, it's not that fun.
I've been to professional football games, baseball games, and stuff. But hockey and soccer, I went to professional soccer. That's horrible. Sorry, it is. It's boring. But I went to a hockey game years ago. Could not believe how much I loved it and how it turns the most mild-mannered person into a killer.
Yeah.
Like Marty, my wife. Oh, my goodness gracious.
It's awesome when there's fights.
Yes. Like
That's the best part.
This lady who hates conflict of any kind is like, she's like yelling, kill him, like they're fighting in the corner.
I said that, but it is cool.
Yeah, it's crazy that you like that. But yeah, hockey's exciting and it's fun. The people are fun at hockey events.
It is. And so at the Preds game too, when the Preds score a goal, which I still haven't figured this out, you chant, and I apologize for the language, but you go, hey, you suck, like over and over again.
Right. And I choose to say you stink.
Oh, sure. Okay.
That's what I do. I make it my own.
I'm sorry. No, but it was an odd thing, but still, like, by the second goal, we're like, we're doing it with everyone else.
Yeah, you definitely get into it. So here's another one. Hey, it's my birthday. This is Kayla. It said, I'd like a shout out. So happy birthday, Kayla. And what is your favorite podcast you've ever done is the question. Ooh, that's a tough one.
Ooh, I know mine.
Betty Rock, you have one? Go.
Mine is the one that Becca deleted.
I knew someone was going to say that. I knew that was coming.
That
was my favorite
was perfect. I couldn't remember that. I was going to say mine was from just the other day where I was kind of in rare form saying things I probably shouldn't have been saying. And then people were encouraging me like, that was the best podcast ever. I'm like, yay, I'm back. I love that one. I would agree with you on that one, Rock. That's the best one ever. We still talk about it.
Yeah, I can't remember anything.
That wasn't that good.
Yes. No, I don't have one.
All right, so here we go. And finally here, hey, Wally, I've been a fan of your show for years. I'll always listen on my way to school every day. You guys have made the drive something I could look forward to. Anyways, I was wondering if I could get a birthday shout-out for my birthday. And so, yes, you absolutely can. Ethan, happy birthday. And here is Ethan's question. If you guys could be the best at something, what would it be? Oh, I love that question.
Oh, wow.
Like
Languages.
the world's, yes, good. Because
I
then you
wish
can
I could
communicate.
just pick it up. Yeah. And I'm terrible at it. I took 4 years of Spanish and nope. Nothing.
I was gonna say I wish I could be the best at accents if I already wasn't, mate. Crikey. Like, I would love to be able to do accents. I think that would be awesome, especially in what we do for a living on the radio. Like, being able to snap in and out of that and do them well would be so cool. Like, impersonations.
Being great at impersonations would be great.
We used to have a guy, his name was Craig Gass, and he was an impersonator, like, professional. He did it for a living, and he was really funny. And we would have him on the show, and we would call other celebrities. We all had different, like, celebrities in our phones, and we would call them and punk them with him doing different celebrity impersonations. He was so stinking funny. And then, but you have to be really good at it. You can't just go, oh, I'm Sean Connery. You have to be able to.
Why are you looking at me? Just really bad.
Yeah,
it's really good. I'm Sean Connery.
Right. But
Nailed it.
Yeah, but you have to be able to talk and say more in character. And that's what this guy did so well, is he could be that character.
Funny inside of. Yeah.
Exactly. Versus just saying catchphrases.
Right.
Because I would only be able to say catchphrases if I could even do that much. I would love that. Zach, this is tougher for you because I don't know that you don't think you're not the best at everything.
I know it's really hard to. I'm struggling over here. The first thing that came to mind was to be the best in the world at throwing a football. Because how fun would that be to just be, Tom Brady?
Yeah, or on Dude Perfect. You could be one of those guys.
Oh, the people that throw like basketballs off of.
And they'll do footballs and stuff too. Like they've expanded their game a little.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they had to grow. Like
Yes.
you and I played football in the DR
We did,
a little bit.
It's hard to throw a football on sand.
Yeah, I know, but we did
You
all
can't
right.
plant.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did all right. I thought we had some pretty good throwing there. I think the people stopped and watched. Like, wow,
Took pictures.
it's pretty impressive. Which one of them is Tom Brady? I don't know. Speaking of the being in the Dominican Republic, we are still doing our compassion drive. We have had a huge drive and a huge day. So many people getting involved. We've had potties sponsoring kids, which is great. We sponsored with people that were calling in today or going online to allwally.com over 251 kids just during the course of our show, and that's huge, man. That's huge. And one of those was actually Becca, who sponsored a third child today, and she got really emotional in talking about it. I want to play a little bit of the audio because finally somebody else has to hear themselves cry.
This is the second time you're going to make me listen, or the third time by the time you've previewed it. And it is rough.
It's uncomfortable to hear yourself cry, is it not?
It's really uncomfortable.
It's horrible, so we're playing it again.
All week, I've been one of the worst ones of saying, like, this is the best way to get unstuck if you're stuck in your life. And we have not had a good year.
Yeah.
It's been really hard. My husband has been really sick, and we just keep ending up back in the hospital with his stuff. And I feel stuck. I feel like I don't know how to go forward. I don't know what life looks like beyond this. And so I kept hearing myself say, this is the best way to get unstuck. And here I am this entire time. I've been the one who is stuck. And this girl who is so clearly meant for us just by her name and by the fact that neither of us could get her out of our heads. And so today I sponsored her and I texted Joey and he texted me back to one long, yay!
That's awesome.
He was so excited.
But it felt good though. And Becca took her headphones off.
I
She didn't want to
I was
listen
like,
to
I
that.
can't do it again.
I know.
But the girl's name is Rebecca Joseph. So my name's Rebecca. Joey's name's Joseph, obviously.
It made sense.
So yeah.
That's
I had
awesome.
her reserved for us the entire week. I wasn't featuring her as our featured kid. I had her bookmarked and just couldn't put her up for anybody else.
And you got her, and that's really good. I love that. And I like you being honest about that and open. It's hard to listen to because sadly there's more tape of me crying than there should be as a man. So I get why that's uncomfortable, but I appreciate your heart behind that. I laughed in the middle of it as a joke, and then I didn't stop it. We used to, when I worked on this one show, we had a recording of one of the guys on the show that had a really big laugh, and we recorded it. And so anytime we were doing news or there's like this horrible story or tragedy, we would play him laughing over the top of it. It was so wrong, but so funny.
At one of my stations, the news guy was doing a story about something about the war. And someone else in the room was like, kind of like had laughed about something else. And it wasn't even on air, but they were like trying to control their laughter about something else. And they got fired for that.
Really?
Yeah, it was before I got there, but it was like an infamous story of,
oh my gosh,
don't laugh at the wrong moment. And then I came here.
Yeah, and then
and everyone's laughing at the wrong moment.
Yeah, that's kind of our sense of humor, though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like my sense of humor for sure, and I think these people too. I don't know if you guys will admit it or not, but my sense of humor is saying the wrongest thing in that moment, just because it makes it uncomfortable and it's funny. You don't mean it, but it's that thing that no one else would say that everyone else is thinking.
Yeah.
I kind of do that. And there's a lot of times we're off the air and I have to double check and make sure the mics are off.
Ironically, you got kicked off of Becca's station back then for making.
Oh, that's true.
For laughing at something they didn't want you to laugh at.
Right.
The station I started on, Wally was originally on nights on that station, and he got kicked off before I started there. Still,
yeah, they kicked me off because I was teasing around about something that was really lame, and they got offended. They had a church talk about our show from the pulpit, wanting the church to boycott our show, which is wonderful, by the way. If you want to have your church boycott the show, please go for it.
We'll make up the pamphlets for you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You can totally Westboro Baptist us, but it's like it was so ludicrous to me, and that it got to that point, and they were threatening to pull all their sponsorships, and so the station's like, we can't have that, and they freaked out and fired us, and that's fine. It's great. I've forgotten it.
But
I haven't.
when I interned here, every time I'd bring it up, you'd be like, "Ugh," and you'd mention the station name. Oh, kid,
More than the
guys.
station name, I'd mention that guy.
The guy.
Yeah, which it wasn't his decision.
Don't care. He took
was-
the hit. He was my target.
He's a good guy.
I don't believe that. So still angry.
No.
Yeah. Jonathan Eltravoog. How do you say his last name? Is it Vogue or Vogue?
Eltravogue.
It's Eltravogue. Okay.
Yeah.
All
So you'll keep calling him Voog.
Yes,
He's
exactly.
great. He's a great guy.
What's he doing now? Is he like? Is
He's
he running a taco truck?
No,
Or what's he doing? I don't know.
He's
I'm trying to figure out what he's doing. I'm
he's
asking.
hosting mornings in somewhere in Illinois. I can't remember the station.
Oh,
But
good for
yeah,
him.
No, he's still in radio.
Oh, is he really? Oh, that's
Yes.
good. I didn't see that being a long-term
Oh
career
my
for him.
goodness. Stop.
I change it. This is
Stop.
my
He
favorite
was-
podcast.
You don't understand. It was not his decision, and he was so encouraging when I got here's the
Okay,
story.
go ahead.
When
Go
I
ahead.
got
Tell
the
me.
internship here, because I was still working at that station, I got my internship here. And everyone was like, ugh, going to work for the Wally show. Ugh. But Johnny, I was so disappointed. I called him because he was no longer working at that station. And so I called him and he was so excited
Was
for
he?
me. Yeah. So
That's
take
good.
that.
That's good.
You
'Cause
jerk.
I ran into him years later. We were doing a record company dinner thing, and they had all these record people. And he kind of came up, and we were talking a little bit, and I was jabbing him about dropping the show. So we go to this dinner, and it's at a nice restaurant. And they had us all assigned, like where we were supposed to sit. And so he sits with us. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, my table's over there, but I'd rather sit here. I'm like, well, they have it assigned. You probably should sit where they want you to sit. They have it for a reason. He's like, oh, no, I'll just sit here. And then I'm like, Tamara, John's at the wrong seat. And had him moved out of our table. And as he's getting up and walking away, I go, that'll teach you to drop my show. I am not
Wasn't
the bigger
personal at all.
not the bigger person, usually ever. Okay, so I realize that about
They
me.
told me a story once too. One of the other guys that worked at the station accidentally bumped into Marty at Momentum, like as he was going
A
through the door or
radio
something.
conference.
And, and so Wally grabbed his badge and was like, "Oh, your station's the one that dropped me, and now you're trying to kill my wife."
I've
You said
forgotten that.
That guy's
Man.
dead now, so feel bad.
Oh, is that the guy that passed
Yeah.
away? You actually really liked him, though,
I did,
too. Like,
yeah.
he was a
I loved
mentor.
all the people there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they brought me so far.
Did they?
And so when you knock them, it's
Yeah.
like you're knocking my own father.
Oh, well, that's okay. Let's talk about your dad for a minute. No, I'm just kidding. I
A
like
lot
your
of
dad.
a lot of people on Facebook Live, by the way, Wally, are saying "Let it go, let it go."
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's right. We're Facebook Live in this. I forgot.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I can't.
Time to move on. No, some people are very lost in our story.
All right, so
least
Betty
of
Rock,
these.
let's do some least of these. What do you say?
All right.
Yay!
Here's where it
Can,
gets
can I
good,
answer,
guys.
can I answer
Choo-choo,
one question real
yeah.
quick?
Oh, please.
Someone asked how to hear the show live in real time, and the best way to do that is to download the Facebook app onto your phone, the WayFM app. Just search WayFM in the apps, any app store, you'll find it. That's the easiest way.
Okay, there you go. Betty Rock, what do you got for least of these?
Okay, Mark Hamill just revealed in a recent interview that he was reluctant to go back and play Luke Skywalker in the new Star Wars movie.
Let's leave well enough alone. It had a beginning, a middle, and end. The only thing we can do is come back and disappoint people. And so I was really frightened about it. I mean, I knew I couldn't resist the challenge, but I said, well, here's the thing. If it's not in solidarity with Harrison and Carrie, then there's an escape route. Yeah. So, I mean, I was shocked that I was only in the last minute or so, but it was the best of both worlds because I could really sort of enjoy it without having the responsibility on my shoulders.
He was in not Rogue One, the one before. Is that it?
Yeah,
or-
Force Awakens. And
Okay.
I am hoping and guessing he's going to be a big part of the next one, which the title was named this week,
Oh,
The
exciting.
Last Jedi.
Oh.
Aren't they putting themselves
What
in a
does it
box
mean?
though with that title?
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
no.
Because
but-
then you can't have they can do another prequel to the Last
but
Jedi.
but before we had Return of the Jedi, and what is that? So I mean, there's guys.
Let me just tell you this before she hyperventilates.
No, because he was the Last Jedi, but so he is the Last Jedi, but that doesn't mean he can't train more Jedis.
There are no rules to this because you could have said the last Death Star and they've blown it up 72
Oh my
times.
goodness.
So and I can't let that go either. And I still blame Jonathan for that one too, Eltravoog, for the Star Wars saga.
I hope someone tags him in the comments somewhere.
I know that'd be funny.
I
Marty
will.
had
I'll do
stepped
it
out.
right now.
My wife Marty was there. She had stepped out for a minute and she's came back in because she was coughing. And she's probably like, "How are you still talking about this?" We are.
Oh, Becca is tagging.
Are you really? That's so funny. It's so funny.
We're talking about you
You
a
a lot.
lot. This is going to make him feel good.
I
He's
know.
going to think that he's,
Yeah, that's good.
but you're helping him.
Yeah, definitely,
This
man.
is
I'm
not what
I'm helping make that guy's career, man.
No,
So yeah.
Stop. Just stop.
What? A minute ago he was running a taco truck.
No,
now,
you're
yes,
the
you
one
said
that
that.
said- No,
you
I
said that,
didn't.
and now he's a morning show guy, and we're helping
Stop.
promote his
Just
show.
stop.
I love that.
Just stop.
No,
You're a giver.
Yeah, I try to help people. You know, I've actually heard from other people other than you that he's a good guy.
He is a good
I don't
guy.
really know him honestly. Okay, so you know what? Betty Rock, yes you. You have another little clip of audio from Mark Hamill, but it has nothing to do with Mark Hamill. I want to hear this.
Right. I don't really get it. He's
Okay.
being the Joker.
Okay, I got this one.
Yeah.
So he in the Batman cartoon,
Yeah,
he voices
I'm
the
tapping
Joker.
out.
He does the voice
Right.
of the Joker, and so he
Wait,
decided.
the Luke Skywalker guy
Yes.
does
Yeah.
he does both of them.
Yes.
Is Luke Skywalker the guy that's in black? And he
No.
goes, oh.
That's Darth Vader.
Are you?
Becca's like,
okay.
are you kidding me right
Okay.
now?
I can't
Can't
even.
even.
Sorry,
Yes.
I'm not
So-
on your level.
So his other job, all these years, has been to be the voice of the Joker in the Batman cartoon. And so he used that voice to read some of. I'm
was
assuming the
Trump's
tweet. Yeah,
tweet.
Donald Trump's tweets.
Yeah, and this is really funny.
See, the Crown Prince of Crime, and also your father. No, that's not true. That's impossible.
Wrong clip of audio. Thanks, Rock. It's not him reading the tweet. That was a Donald Trump tweet about all the people that were coming at him that he read, which would have been really good to have right there.
Good thing we're live.
That's awkward.
Moving on.
If only this show could have the dedication and the professionalism of the Jonathan Eltrevug show, we would be somewhere. So he's better than us right now. I guarantee you he would have had that clip of audio. We're going to have to move on from that. The attention to detail is what I love. All right, so we saw The Shack recently. Oh, did you have another story?
Yeah, she has three more
gave me
stories.
4 of them to read.
I'm sorry. I got disappointed and I moved on. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. What else do you have?
Okay, so this one's kind of sad. 31-year-old Misha Barton. If you watch the OC, you know who she is. Did you ever?
Nope.
No. Okay. Me
She's an
neither.
actress.
But she was hospitalized for a psychiatric evaluation yesterday because her neighbors were complaining that she was hanging over her backyard fence and screaming that the world was coming to an end, that her
Oh.
mom is a witch, and that her dog is crazy. And so this is actually the second time that she's been hospitalized for this same thing, where she called it a full-on breakdown in
Really?
2009.
You know what? I can see that. Like celebrity, everyone thinks celebrities are immune to life problems because of money. You think you've got money, you've got fame, your life should be perfect. And the reality is they have mental illnesses, they struggle with self-confidence, the same things that we all struggle with, and it can build up because there's also pressure on them to perform and to be this certain way. And I could totally see snapping.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
if I was a celebrity, I have a feeling I would be on TMZ a lot.
I do too.
Yeah, for all the wrong reasons.
Jerry Seinfeld lost some Twitter followers yesterday after typing a politically incorrect tweet about his latest guest, Louis Black, on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. He tweeted, "Black's life matters,"
That's so creative.
but people did not like it. They
Yes.
said it was terrible.
That's one of those things. You know how things they start in a very serious place and in a reason, but then something becomes pop culture. And so there are a lot of people like Black Lives Matter. I remember why, and it's very important. But then it became people saying, well, don't all lives matter? And then people arguing and debating, well, no, that's because we're talking about this event and this history. But then it's one of those things that you hear people make that reference in a comical way a lot. And it's one of those things that people aren't ready to, it hasn't transcended pop culture enough to be funny to the masses yet, because we still have
Well, it's
so many
still
racial.
current.
Well, we still have
Yeah.
so many racial tensions, and so it's still an issue. I think from a creative standpoint, that's well written,
Mhm.
and it's kind of funny. But I could see why he's getting pushback from
Well,
that.
and he's getting mad because he's saying that all of this politically incorrect stuff is killing comedy. Like, you just can't be funny anymore.
But that's the kind of thing that you say in like a comedy club, but maybe not on Twitter. I think
That's a good
yeah.
point.
I heard him talking with another comedian about comedians are going to colleges less and less because there's such there's a hyper focus on political correctness that they can't make any jokes, and so they're just avoiding the college scene altogether.
Because what happens a lot in college is you go there and it's good because it formulates who you are. But I think that there is a very liberal bent too, to where you're supposed to just accept everything. Like in the minute you have any sort of boundaries or any sort of godly boundaries and things that God has set up is, hey, this is how we should live. The minute you don't accept everyone else's version of what they are and what life should be as, you are intolerant and you're a bigot or you're this horrible person. And so these are bastions for that liberal agenda, and I can see why comics would avoid it, because you can't just make a joke and it just be a joke, anymore, because somebody's going to get offended. That's a really good point. I hadn't thought of that.
And if your weekend plans involve heading to the theater, don't be surprised to see protesters outside because PETA has lined up protesters in 25 main U.S. cities to boycott the film A Dog's Purpose. Set to hit theaters today, it was expected to open at #1, earning $27 million. But with all this controversy going on with it, with the leaked video of the German Shepherd being pushed into some rapid water by its handler and it's not wanting to get in, now they're expecting only $18 million.
That's rough.
Yeah. You're killing it, man. You are killing it today. Oh, my goodness.
But if you look at the video, I mean...
How long had you had that joke sitting in there?
I could not wait for her to finish the story. I'm like, get on with it, get on with it.
If you see the video is bad. I mean, it does.
Yeah.
It
I
doesn't look
haven't
good on
seen
their
it.
Part.
It's sad. It's sad. It makes you sad. Like, it really does. And I know people have come out since then and said, okay, that's not the entire story.
Right.
I've also heard that the dog had done it like a dozen times successfully for the other side, but then they switched the sides of the water and he didn't want to because of the unknown territory and stuff. So I get all that. I'm sticking with my original guns of not seeing the movie, but mostly because it's going to be way too sad for my taste.
Right.
and like when this stuff came out, I was like, oh, I'm definitely not seeing it now. But if I'm being honest with myself, the main reason I'm not seeing it is because I couldn't handle it in my little dog-loving heart.
Here's the thing with like these dogs, like movie dogs and things like that, they're these people's livelihoods and they don't abuse these animals. It's like they have relationships with them. So I could see if you're pushing that dog to do something that it's safe to do. And I understand that. Again, I haven't seen the video, so I can't speak to it on that level. But this is not a puppy mill. This is not a situation of people abusing animals, which should not be tolerated at all. I don't think you can put those two things in the same category. But PETA does that. PETA's like, whoosh.
And here's the thing too, because PETA, I don't think really wants animals to work on any movie. So they found this instance, and they're like, oh, we got to jump on this. But the thing is that dogs, there are breeds of dogs that are meant to work, and German Shepherds are one of those dogs. They want to have purpose. Yeah, a dog's purpose. But seriously, like they're so intelligent that you have to give them tasks for them to be fulfilled. And
that dog was a method actor. That's why he looked so miserable. He was in character.
So it's still sad. I hate the video still. It's so sad. It shouldn't have happened that way, but it doesn't tell the entire story, and I get that.
We had Ingrid Newkirk, who's the founder of PETA, on one of my mainstream shows years ago, and we wanted to test her love of animals. And so we had Fat Kid, who was our intern, and an animal there in the studio, a goldfish. And we're like, okay, we're going to choose. You have to choose. Do we either put this hook through Goldie's mouth or do we pierce Fat Kid's septum? And she's like, oh, definitely pierce Fat Kid. Like, that poor kid went through so much abuse that day, but she was not going to hurt that animal. But that person's life and that person's discomfort meant absolutely nothing to her.
But the person is choosing to be in that situation.
Not really. Fat Kid was not happy about
that.
He
could have walked out at any second, though.
That would have been his job.
Like a dog. Like, I don't feel like that's a fair comparison.
Well, of course it's not fair, but it was fun.
Yes.
I don't think we should use anything from Wally's former radio days as a fair portrait of anything.
Or as an example of what to do.
No.
Yeah, so,
No
all right,
pass.
so that's going to do it for
now
the least
we're
of
gonna
these.
move on to what you want to talk
Thank
about.
you. About
You got
time.
like 20 minutes.
Oh, why does he want me to look this up and
I
get all
don't
these
know.
details and
I
then he skips
don't
me?
No, when the audio...
I don't understand.
When the audio wasn't the same audio clip, in my head, I was just moving on to like, okay, so I thought that was it. So, okay, so here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
We went and saw...
You don't want to hear her last story?
Yes. We went
No,
and
really,
saw.
she has another one.
There's no way.
You love to talk about the Shack.
Yes,
guys.
I do want to talk about the Shack. We went, and if you're watching Facebook Live, feel free to chime in because you might be able to fill in some holes if you're very book smart and well read. I never read the book. I just remember at the time. We're not gonna spoil the movie, but I remember the time when the Shack came out. We had a conversation about it on the air, and people were going crazy. There were people on one side going, "This has radically altered my view of faith in Christ," and they're like, it became this big like moment in their life. And then there were other people that were like, "This is the worst thing ever, and it is tearing down religion. We're gonna boycott it. We're gonna burn the books." Like it got crazy. And so we talked about it one night, and our phones blew up, and my email blew up, and people just mattered in fish grease, and like you.
Whoa. What?
Yeah.
That's
that
really
mean?
mad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's an old drop we had from the Total Access days. I don't even
From
know.
a caller we had.
Yeah.
I'm madder than fish grease.
And so we've done this way too long. And so, like, I went into this movie remembering all of that anger. And so I'm looking at the movie. I'm like, okay, here comes the part. Where's the part where everyone got mad? Well, it's got to be coming up. It's got to be coming. I get to the end of the movie. I'm like, why was everybody mad? Like, I don't see what was causing that sort of anger from it.
And I could see if you went into the movie as a theologian looking for holes in the theology, you're going to find them.
'Cause
You're
it's
going to
not-
find that in any
It's not a
movie.
theology book.
Yeah,
Right.
there's no piece of art that is a complete theology.
Right.
And
It-
so if that's what you're
Except the Bible.
looking for. But that's not a piece of art.
I think so. I think it's beautiful.
But this movie had so many, there's so much beautiful imagery, not just in the cinematography, which was so pretty, but also in how they portrayed God in that relationship. Like, I thought there were some really moving parts to it.
Rebe from the blog report read the book the week before because she wanted to really know what the controversies could be and know for herself. She said that she had a way harder time with the book than the movie
Okay.
because the book, she said she got caught up in so many, like it was very detailed, she said, in the descriptions of things, and for you to think, wait, is it really like that? But the movie is a big picture kind of.
Okay. So, Marty, you read half the book, I guess? You didn't get
No,
to the
I
whole thing?
read it all
You did?
years ago, and I kept thinking it's got to get better. It's got to get better because it was kind of like slow and
The movie has
boring.
moments where it's slow,
Right,
too.
Right, but
But
I thought the movie was good.
you liked the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's things I really liked about the movie. Like, it's not, I don't think it's spoiling something to say that they have different representations of God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, the Trinity, and they have them represented. It's a movie, so they have to have them represented as something, and they chose people. And I thought it was really fascinating, the lady that plays God, and maybe that's where a lot of people were really angry, but the justification for why it's a woman, and this guy meets her, and basically she's saying, I don't think you could have handled a man because of your relationship with your father. So God is appealing to this person or appearing to this person in a form that helps them be more comfortable. And I thought that was beautiful, actually. I don't see a problem with that.
Right. That's the part that I had remembered from the book. I can remember telling you at the time that the only part I liked about this book is how God was portrayed as a woman because that's what he needed at the time.
Because then there's a place later on where God is a man when he needs that.
Right.
And so I thought it was a great narrative on God giving us what we need because he knows us better than we know ourselves. And so my takeaway on that part was like, oh, that was really good. And the lady that plays God is
Octavia
phenomenal.
Spencer. Yeah,
Yes.
she's in The Help. She's in that new Hidden Figures movie as well.
And
so
so-
she's a big-time actress.
She's great. And surprisingly, the guy that plays Jesus
Oh,
was awesome.
spot
Fantastic.
on. And I loved that representation of that relationship. Like, he's the guy in the main character. And like, how come I, feel like more comfortable around you? He's like, well, I'm human, and so
Right.
you relate
Yeah,
to me
I love
better.
that.
And there's just there's so much beautiful moments with that Jesus figure and this guy and the relationship that they had.
Now, the movie asks a bunch of big questions, and it's
Yeah.
basically, why is there suffering? The broad stroke, I don't want to give away too much, but the broad stroke is, why do bad things happen to good people? Why do people, come in our lives and die? And how do you, God, justify being a good God when you allow or you cause so many bad things to happen? So there's that theme of a question that's asked in multiple different ways throughout the movie. I think they address it in some points. I think that they do a fairly decent job at trying to answer it, but it's a difficult question to answer. But I think that my overall take was it raised way more questions than it could accurately answer in a 2-hour time frame and a deep question. So I walked out of there having more questions than I did answers.
And I think that's the best, you should look to a movie to accomplish, to force you to think about things. Like, that's best case scenario. And whether it's a movie or a song or a radio show or a magazine, whatever piece of art, or if you're looking for that to be a complete spiritual meal and present everything in totality, you're going to be sorely disappointed all the time, because these things are just supplements to your faith, and the Bible needs to be what is your complete meal.
See, I wasn't looking at it to be something that altered my faith, like some people said. Like I doubted that was going to be the case, but I did, because those are big questions that I wrestled with for a lot of years, and I had to answer them in my own soul. And I was looking for a different take on those, and like, okay, how did they answer this question? And some of it was good, and I liked, but then some of it I felt, okay, they didn't get to, and I was kind of bummed because I really wanted a different perspective, on it, and I don't feel that I got that on that overall giant question of suffering.
But now we need to talk about the number one issue of the movie, the thing that I could not get over.
The guy's voice.
Yes. He kept slipping.
The lead character.
He was not an American, but he kept slipping in and out of his fake American accent, and he'd say different words, like weird. Like, he'd just say them weird. I'm like, why didn't you reshoot that? Because that didn't sound like a sentence.
And he sounded like Batman.
Whispered into the, he never made eye contact with characters.
Yes, he sounds like you. Yes.
I portrayed him.
Every line this guy said, he's like, I don't know. I'm just going to go over and use the snowblower. It was always dramatic and very, very whispered. And it took me 45 minutes to get past that. Like, I really struggled.
In the movie, you're like, why is he talking like that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, shh.
I know. I think what I said, though, honestly, in the movie, I said, why is he talking like that?
This is not to get too technical, where we watched the movie is built for live music performances as well, versus a theater that's produced to have crystal clear dialogue in a very dead environment. Right. So that made it harder to hear dialogue at certain times.
No, that's just
so it might be better, at a real movie.
No, it was his fault.
I very much doubt that. Because it was very, very dramatic. Finally, I can do an imitation. That's the only one I can do, and I don't even know the guy's name. But that was pretty spot on. That was spot on, right?
That was good.
Because you're like my biggest critic when it comes to.
Because you're really bad at it.
Yes, thank you, thank you, wife.
Someone said, by the way, Marty, they think you're doing a fantastic Marge Simpson.
Yeah, say homie.
Hey, homie.
That is good. So I would say, honestly, our station was looking at, okay, our boss, Farron, saw this movie and he's like, it was phenomenal, and he's spearheading it and he wants us to do stuff with it. He's like, it's going to change people's thing. And he asked me what my opinion was, and I basically told him kind of what we talked about here. But I was cautioning him about us getting involved with it just from the headache standpoint of it, from the few people that will be very vocal about it. But after seeing it, I'm like, I don't see what's so bad about it, honestly, and especially if you go into it with the thing of going, this is not a Bible story told, and there are some, creative things taken inside of this. But if you're looking for something to have a conversation about pain and suffering and God's role in that, and maybe makes you go a little bit deeper, and you ask your pastor, your small group takes that on. We did World's Biggest Small Group this year, all on suffering and pain. That'd be a great supplement to the movie The Shack to walk out of that and then look at what the Bible says about suffering.
I'm just really curious. Could we do a quick poll on Facebook Live? So if you want to hear about The Shack, do a heart, and if you think it's the wrong thing to do the angry icon. Okay. Like, I'm just curious to see what flies across more. Because when he posted the other day that we were at the movie, I would say it was like a 10-to-1 ratio of awesome versus, don't talk about that movie.
I looked early on at the comments. I didn't spend a ton of time on it. I looked early on and didn't see anything negative. And so that's interesting that somebody was like, there are a few people that were still
right
upset
now.
about
It's looking like maybe 70% hearts.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 75.
All right.
Going up. Okay.
All right.
Interesting.
There you go. Scientific proof.
Yes. Yep, we should do it.
That we should do this. Send that data to Farron, because that's very empirical, and he will need that.
They're flowing across even more now. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
You know what? Like, if something causes you to ask a question, I think that's good. And it's done well creatively, but just you can't walk out of there just taking that as gospel. I think you need to walk out of there and then look at what the Bible says and talk to people that might know more about this, because I do think that this movie could cause people who had a very negative view of God to alter how they see God, and in a very positive way.
And I do think I think a hard concept for for believers, for humans to understand is the concept of God being 100% full of truth and 100% full of grace.
Right.
Like, it's impossible for us to comprehend that. Like, Jesus was 100% both of each one, but I don't think we comprehend that well. And I think the American church, largely the pendulum sides to the side of truth, judgment,
Right.
telling people, well, this is what you need to do, versus the side of the pendulum saying God loves you, there's forgiveness, all that kind of, those kind of thoughts. And I think this movie overrepresents the grace side.
Right.
But that might be where we need to move our pendulum a little further to that side, because we represent a God only about the truth, the judgment, he has the rules. And so
Right.
I think anything that can help us move maybe a little more toward the center, which is really hard to do.
It did.
It's
It
beneficial.
did. Like, I wouldn't say that this thing radically altered my faith at all. Like, I don't think it did that. But it did make me remember that God is a God of love. Because too many times, like you're saying, Zach, we get focused on, and I get caught up in it in this world that we live in with Christian radio and churches and all this other stuff. And like, it's easy to just see the negative and what we stand against kind of thing. And,
Right.
and that becomes the narrative. But it was really refreshing to remember that God is for us. God is pulling for us. We make dumb mistakes all the time that hurt us, but those are our choices. There is free will. But ultimately, he's not this cosmic cop waiting to punish us when we mess up. He's a God that hurts with us and goes, dadgummit, that's not what I had for you. It's not what I intended for your life at all. Come on, let's get it right this time. And there's love, there's redemption, and there's forgiveness.
And it's so hard to understand that with also a God who can't be around sin.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I don't understand I don't think on earth we'll ever understand that. Find things like this that can open your mind to both sides.
Yeah. The bigger problem in the movie that I had was being on an amended diet because of the drive for the compassion drive, and only eating rice and beans at night in honor of that, and my wife eating popcorn right in front of me. That was still my biggest problem with the movie.
I made your dinner before we left.
I know.
But I wasn't hungry.
Yeah.
So
I know. I've
got
heard.
hungry when we got to the
I
movie
know. I
theater.
know. Little solidarity.
I know, I'm sorry.
Even though he refers to you as the kitchen.
Yes, I did that
Did the
yesterday.
kitchen run out of beans?
I thought you would find that funny, though.
Yeah, I did find that funny. Next week, it probably won't be funny.
Yes. I will tell you this, that my amazing wife made sure that for my last meal of rice and beans, when we were out of beans,
The kitchen was out of beans.
that's right, you went and got me beans. So last night I celebrated with a meal of rice and beans. So thank you very much.
Choo-choo-ah.
Choo-choo-ah! Hey, again, you can sponsor kids still. I want to get out of here and go see how we're doing, because
You want to get out here and go eat.
that
We're
too.
at
Go lunch. What are we at?
1868.
Wow.
Oh, that's not
Wow.
moving as much as we did. No,
1869.
sorry.
Seriously?
I'm competitive.
Yeah. You're dumb.
But 131
You're
left.
dumb.
Fantastic.
That's huge. That's huge. They'll finish that up in a couple hours, which is fantastic. And that ultimately is what it's all about. It's about helping these kids and making that difference in their lives. Yeah.
You're not on a mic,
Yeah,
babe.
you're not on a mic, but Betty's like, I'm on Facebook Live. You can see my disdain in my face.
Beth Ann wants to know how much weight you've lost on the beans and rice diet.
4 pounds.
No, it's not a diet. He's bragging about losing weight. You don't get to. No, that if you have ulterior motives, you shouldn't have done it. And I.
Here's the thing.
Say no.
It's slimming. No, here's the
Someone
thing.
did say that shirt is very slimming on you.
Why,
though.
thank you. In doing that, though, it was kind of, I think if I hadn't been drinking soda, Zach, honestly, dude, I really appreciate this. Zach was afraid that I would turn into this raging lunatic because I wasn't eating. And
I was
you did last
I was
time.
dead against you doing this.
yes, and so he brought me a case of sodas, so when I got like sugar lows or whatever, I could drink a soda, and that helped me out. So thank you very much.
I'm thankful
appreciate
for that as well.
I do appreciate
Well,
you thinking of
because
me
I
on
used
that
to do a
level.
lot of fasting. I don't do it as much anymore. But when your brain chemistry changes, when
Yeah.
you don't have the glucose in your blood, like it affects how you behave, your attitude. It affects everything, and so that's why I didn't want you to starve yourself of that in a week that was so important.
Yeah,
but,
don't get out of the
but you
game when
handled it
it
well.
comes
Yeah.
to the kids.
No, and I really did appreciate that. I thought that was awesome. And so, so I got mad yesterday at something off the air that happened, and that had nothing to do with my blood sugar.
Okay. No, I want to say
That
something.
infuriated
I want
me.
to say something really quickly
What?
because now you know what it feels like to be a woman. Because no, I'm
I
serious.
have no idea where you're going.
For the record, he's known that for a long time.
Bear with me.
Jewelry.
Because
What?
every time, as a girl, when you feel like a little like there's something that's not justice or that you're upset about something, you're like everyone's like, oh, your PMS, your emotions, and your
Right.
hormones. Like, no, sometimes I have the right to be upset about something.
You do.
Yeah. So
Are you-
now you know how that feels.
Are you right
No.
now? Okay, I don't know. It was a good week, and I'm happy that we were going to go do a show lunch, and I'm so thrilled that we're almost at the goal of 2,000 kids here. And so, again, thank you so much. If you've sponsored a kid or you're even thinking about it still, you can still help us get to that goal. We're not there yet, and you can do that at allwally.com.
For the record, do you feel like we've been overly mean to you today? Some of the people have commented, lay
Today?
off Wally. Yeah, you're
Oh,
being too
one
mean.
person keeps commenting.
Oh,
Yes.
really? No,
Really?
actually, no.
Let's just, for the record, you don't
No.
you don't feel hurt.
For the record,
You're not
at
a
all.
wounded
Because we
fawn.
love you.
Nope.
We all looked into your eyes yesterday and said, well, I tried to get them to do it.
Yeah,
I did it.
I know you did. Yesterday was a bad day. Like in anything, in any job, there are good days and there are bad days. I love what I get to do every day. I truly, truly do that. I love working with you guys, and I love coming in and getting to do this job. But with anything, there are bumps in the road, and there are people that you butt heads with, and you try to handle it, and then sometimes it boils to the surface. And yesterday was a bad day for me. Yesterday was a day that I had enough, and I snapped and I lost it, and I just was like, I want to go home, And I think we all have those days at some point in time. So I do appreciate Becca. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Zach Soda. So that's two.
Marty, you're required by law. Don't,
Yes.
I gave you pep talks.
I know, no.
yeah, but that's
You
your
did. You
job
played a valuable
description.
role, even though you couldn't talk.
Yeah, but her pep talks were more judgmental. Like
I was speaking truth.
I know, but I don't always want truth.
I
That's
Sometimes
what
you
I-
need grace.
Yes,
You need both fully.
That's what I'm trying to get to. I don't always want truth. Sometimes I want blind allegiance
You're the
and
one
loyalty.
who always wants truth.
No, I don't. It's a lie. Anyone that says they always want truth is lying. Sometimes you want someone just to be on your side and go,
love
I'm going to
you.
go to battle with you. Even if I think you're wrong, I'm all in with you.
I'm all in with you.
Well,
But you
yes.
also needed to hear that truth.
Yes.
Minnie Mouse is on your side.
It's much, and truth is funnier when it sounds like Minnie Mouse. You're absolutely right. No, thank you all, and thank you, Marty Pants. I love you.
I love you.
All right, so there we go. Let's,
Gosh, in there.
Still not on a mic.
yeah, yes. All right, we are done with our precast. We will be back to normal on Monday, and thank you for being a potty.